Welcome everybody who's joined us, and if I could just remind you, just if you could keep your microphones on mute, that just saves a little bit of that feedback noise that we get sometimes in these meetings, so thank you. And thank you for joining us tonight. So we are here tonight on Tuesday the 8th of September 2020. We have a special meeting of Strathbogie Shire Council commencing at 5 p.m. And until further notice, all meetings conducted by the Strathbogie Shire Council will be held virtually and live streamed on our website at www.strathbogie.vic.gov.au. This ensures that we're meeting the Victorian Government's social distancing requirements to slow the spread of coronavirus COVID-19 and help keep our community safe. We encourage all community members to watch the meeting online, given that we've had to close the public gallery until further notice following legal advice around how to comply with COVID-19 social distancing rules. Today, all councillors are working from home, as are our council officers, or they are in a closed office space. So this is so that we can participate without having to wear a mask. We understand wearing a mask may create accessibility concerns for some members of our community, and we hope by participating in today's meeting remotely that we can overcome this. So tonight's special council meeting will hear submissions to our draft Strathbogie Shire Community Law number 2. Speakers will have 5 minutes to present to councillors, and our Executive Manager for Communications Engagement, Kristen Favaloro, will raise a card when there is 1 minute to go, and then another card at the 5-minute mark. I ask that you bear with us as we're working through today's meeting, as we work through the complications added when we are in a virtual meeting, so it can be a bit challenging. We have 4 people who've indicated that they wish to speak to their submissions tonight, so I'm going to move through in our agenda now to the item. So if you're following on in the agenda, I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we are meeting, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. We have apologies tonight from Phil Howard. Councillors, do we have any declarations of conflicts of interest tonight? Okay, thank you. We have no petitions, and so therefore we'll move into the officer reports. The item before us is item 6.1, the draft Strathbogie Shire Community Local Law number 2, hearing of submissions. So on page 1 of the agenda, if you're following along, and we have a recommendation before us, councillors. At this point, I'm just wondering whether I might just ask one of the officers if they wish to just cover the executive summary. Is Cam here? Would he like to do that? Putting him on the spot. Sorry, Cam. With us? Julie, did you wish to?
Through you, Madam Mayor, David Roth, who oversees this area, is probably best to do that.
Thank you, Julie. David, would you like to just run through the executive summary for us?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. So this just talks about the process that we need to go through to prepare the local law. So we compiled the local law based on feedback, put it out for public comment as we're required to under the Act. And as the report notes, we received 59 submissions, which was a very strong response. And a number of submitters have requested to speak to their submission. So today's meeting is about hearing the submissions, and then the council will consider the content and make a call when they decide to adopt the local law.
Thank you, David. Okay, so councillors, on page 1 of our agenda, we have a recommendation before us. Do I have somebody prepared to move that recommendation, please? Thank you, Councillor Little. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Mason. Okay, Councillor Little, are you happy for me just to put this straight to the vote to hear the submissions, or do you wish to speak to this item? You're on mute, Councillor Little. Thank you.
Sorry about that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
I'd just like to note that that David Roth said there were 59 submissions. I think that's probably at least 59. I think there's been 2 or 3 since then. So we've had at least 59 submissions to this.
Thank you, Councillor Little. Councillor Mason, did you wish to speak to this item? Councillor Mason, you're on mute. Thank you.
I am too. Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, I concur with Councillor Little.
Thank you, Councillor Mason. Any other councillors wish to speak to this item before I put it to a vote? All right. In that case, councillors, we have a recommendation that's been moved by Councillor Little, seconded by Councillor Mason. All those in favour? Oops. Lovely. Thank you. Carried unanimously. Okay, so at this point, we're going to now open up to hear from people who've placed submissions and who have indicated that they wish to speak. I currently have a list before me of 4 people who wish to speak. And then after that point, if we have others who have submitted but haven't indicated they wish to speak to their submissions at that point, could just raise their hand after that. So at this point, I'll call upon David Arnold. Is David with us tonight? No. All right. Thank you, Kristen. Laura Binks. Is Laura with us tonight? Laura's with us. Welcome, Laura. You've got 5 minutes to speak to your submission, and thank you for your submission. We really do appreciate you taking the time to put a submission into this process.
Thanks, Amanda. I'm going to leave my video off because I have dodgy internet. So I guess, you've all read my submission. I don't really have a lot that I need to speak to specifically, but I wanted to just have a conversation and raise a point about the way that the local laws are written and how we might promote a more permissive, I guess, environment for being able to do things. So rather we have permits at the start of the local law layout, and we talk about possibilities and opportunities of people and what we can do in our shire, rather than a whole list of punitive measures, as a lot of them appear to be for me and for people I've spoken to in my community. I feel like we can do a lot more and have a really great opportunity to sort of encourage people to do things rather than telling them off all the time. So that's just my feedback. Thank you.
Lovely, Laura. Thank you very much. And again, thank you for your submission, and thank you for coming into the meeting tonight and speaking to your submission. We really do appreciate that. So
my pleasure.
Thank you. The next person that I have on my list is Anne Preston. Is Anne with us tonight? And I'm sorry, Kristen, I can't see you at this point.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Anne is with us tonight.
Thank you, Kristen. Anne, if you'd like to speak to your submission, you have the 5 minutes, and Kristen will give you the indication of the timing.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, councillors and officers. I'd like to highlight the key areas of my submission on behalf of the Melbourne Drone Flyers Group. As I noted in my submission, we're a statewide group with just under 4,000 members, and we encourage the safe and legal flying of drones. In the Guidelines for Local Laws manual published by Local Government Victoria, it's recommended that councils consider alternatives before introducing additional local laws, identify and stay within the power to make a local law, identify existing legislation that might be used instead of the local law, and identify existing legislative provisions that may be overlapped by a local law. As a group, we're very concerned about the addition of Section 21 being remotely controlled aircraft and drones into Council's local laws. In point 1, we would be required to have a permit to fly in a public place. I don't believe that Council has the authority to control all the public places defined in the Summary Offences Act 1966. In point 2 of Section 21 of the proposed local law, the flying of a remotely controlled aircraft or drone in a public place must not be flown in such a way as to obstruct, inconvenience, hinder, endanger, alarm, damage property, or prevent the free passage of other users in a public place. As I documented in my submission, the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, I'll refer to them as CASA, is the federal independent statutory authority for aircraft and airspace in Australia. Once a drone has left the ground, the operator comes under federal rules. Council would be aware that CASA's key role is to conduct the safe regulation of air operations across all of Australia and to ensure that Australian airspace is administered and used safely. CASA's existing drone rules are designed to protect people on the ground and in the air. This takes away the need for your proposed local law. By leaving section 21 in the local law document, Council would be duplicating managing airspace, which is already governed and controlled by CASA at a federal level. I noted in our submission that CASA is bringing in a drone registration and accreditation scheme for drone operators over 16 years of age and for drones weighing more than 250 grams. CASA updated their website on the 25th of August, stating in summary that registration of drones used for commercial purposes opens on the 30th of September this year and must be registered by the 28th of January next year. All drones being flown for fun and weighing more than 250 grams will also need to be registered. Registration will open in March 2022 and must be registered by the 30th of May 2022. Registration, we've been advised, will be quick and easy and valid for 12 months. As CASA is bringing in a registration requirement that has been legislated, if Council would have a permit requirement, isn't that a duplication? CASA can require anyone over 16 to register. Another council indicated to me that they can't issue permits to anyone under 18 years of age. As I noted in our submission, CASA can update the drone rules without changing legislation, whereas local laws are normally in place for 10 years. During the ordinary Strathbogie Council meeting on the 18th of August, Madam Mayor acknowledged the community has concerns about the proposed local laws being too restrictive. Removing section 21 and recognising CASA as the responsible authority for aircraft and air safety would be a leap in the right direction for the community and will not disadvantage, discriminate or put unnecessary restrictions on drone operators. I do appreciate you taking the time to read my submission and listen to me this afternoon, and I'm wondering if anybody might have a question for me.
Thank you, Anne. We actually don't in these meetings have the interaction between the councils. We're here to listen to you present your submissions. So thank you for asking for the questions. We do appreciate that. These council meetings are to hear from you as a submitter in this process.
That's fine. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming and presenting, and thanks for being part of this meeting today. So our next speaker that I have on my list is Elizabeth Seach. Is Elizabeth or Libby here? I know she was having trouble with... No? Okay. In that case, Julie, did you wish to... Sorry, is Libby here?
Sorry, Elizabeth is here, but she can't. Her sound isn't working, so Julie will be reading her submission.
Thanks.
Sorry, I'm just having trouble accessing it on my computer. I'm sorry about this through you, Madam Mayor. It's probably best if Cam reads it at this stage.
Thank you, Julie. Is Cam here to read the submission?
Yes.
Lovely.
Yep.
Thanks, Cam.
Hopefully it will work this time. So... Oh, sorry, I'm just pulling this submission up now. Okay, thank you. Thank you to Council for the opportunity to speak today and at the recent Zoom meeting. The rush to complete this legislation is concerning as the community has had little time to peruse and absorb the relevant documents and expansion from 26 pages to 51 pages. A more transparent and easy to follow process would be a list tabling current law, proposed change, additions, deletions, reason and objective. I support the submissions from the Victorian Farmers Federation and the local VFF branch. The exclusion of draft law number 218 18.1, Clause A, driving livestock, in conjunction with consideration to maintain the current law of number 6, driving livestock. The effect of a permit-based system is a financial burden, stressful, and may have possible animal welfare issues to the producer. There are national road rules, and Vic Roads has additional road rules regarding livestock and compliance. The producer is responsible for insurance liability, not the council, nor is council responsible to monitor public liability insurance of business owners, and I question the need to impose an onerous burden and compliance issues on driving livestock. Are council laws overlapping Vic Roads legislation? Draft number 2, Clause 45, animal excrement. Clause 1, apart from being impractical, it is concerning that it highlights the lack of recognition of the rural-urban differences. It would be prudent for Council to consult with the Victorian Farmers Federation, the leading organisation and peak body of the agricultural sector, and VFF livestock representative to understand the impact of proposals on the agricultural sector in the future. Other communities are recognising the benefits, beauty and rural lifestyle of Strathbogie Shire, and there is an increase in the diversity of people moving here. Council's suggestion of an education program on the rules of the road concerning livestock would be beneficial to the community at large. An educational program to enhance understanding of the Victorian road safety rules, particularly in rural areas, would meet a justified need and identified problem. Education is a great way to go for the safety of our community. Elizabeth Seach. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Cameron. And sorry, thank you, Cameron, for reading that out, and thank you, Elizabeth, for making the submission and for participating in tonight's meeting. Even if you couldn't speak to your submission, we're very happy to hear from Cameron in relation to your submission. We appreciate you taking the time. So that's the last of the people who made submissions who indicated they wish to speak to their submissions. Is there anybody who is in the meeting who made a submission and would like to speak to their submission but hasn't indicated, or there was an issue with that? Okay, I'm going to take the silence as we don't have anybody else to speak to submissions. So I would like to thank those who have put submissions into council as part of this process. We recognise that under current COVID situation, it is a challenging space for us to engage in, that we can't have face-to-face meetings with our community. So we do appreciate people who have taken the time to write to us. We do appreciate people who have participated in our Zoom meeting and also have made submissions to the council. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We are now, there being no further business today for this council meeting, I'm going to declare this meeting closed at 5:18 p.m. Thank you everyone, and we really appreciate your time and the energy and effort that you've put into this. Thank you.